All right, y'all. So we're gonna freestyle this today. And what I mean by freestyle is because I don't like to do all the extra edits. No knock to anybody that does that, but we're just gonna let this flow today. First and foremost, it's your girl Najla, the life curator. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot me. Take it up with God. I'm just his vessel. And for me, I like to, of course we get Bible everywhere, but my take is like, okay, now that you have Bible, let's walk that thing out. Let's apply it to real life. And one of the things that God has been talking to me about, y'all, I talk a lot with my hands, so I'm just trying not to be distracting. All right, so one of the things that God has been talking to me about is passive aggressiveness. Now, y'all, I know that's probably a cuss word in of itself. Passive aggressiveness. Now, for those of you who may not know what passive aggressiveness is this. Okay, so we know what aggression is. Aggression is all out, angry, blah, 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 okay? Passive aggressiveness is, okay, I'll give you an example. You say something to me, I don't like it, I'm angry, I'm upset, but instead of physically acting out or expressing my feelings to you, I internalize it. And what that looks like is I probably won't tell you, but then I'll do little things like, oh, you made me mad, so I'm not gonna call them today, or I'm not gonna text them today, or I'm not gonna do what I said I'm gonna do because I'm being passive aggressive. Here's the thing with passive aggressiveness. A lot of times if someone has offended you or you've offended someone, they may or may not be aware. Sometimes an offense is not always blatant, like, oh, you stole my money, oh, you cheated, oh, you wrecked my car. Y'all, I hope the police, I hope they're going to save somebody, but y'all interrupted my video. Anyways, right? So a lot of times the offense may not be blatant. It may not be something that you're aware that you did. But what happens is if I don't share with you the offense, I can't expect you then to rectify it or to make the situation better. I just can't. Like, you can't expect something where someone doesn't know that they've offended you. And the thing with passive aggressive is like a seed that gets planted. And and what'll happen with that seed is every time then something happens from that point forward, we're watering that seed. They're like, yeah, that's why I knew they don't care about me. Yeah, that's already new, right? And so that seed is growing and it's festering, and at some point it's gonna sprout. And the problem with that is it sprouts in many different ways, in many different areas. And so here's some practical tools, if you would, when you feel like you've been offended, okay? First and foremost, if someone blatantly disregards you or disrespects you, we need to even evaluate that relationship, that connection, that friendship to begin with, right? But if this is someone that you know, that you love, that you trust, and you know their heart is in the right position, first and foremost, if someone says something that doesn't sit well with you, then be mature enough to bring it to their attention, okay? You may not be good in your communication skills, and that's okay. If you gotta write it down, text them, take a note, take a picture, whatever, you have to let the person know that you've been offended or something that they did or said upset you, because you can't expect them to correct behavior that you never let them know about. So if someone first and foremost does something to offend you, instead of going into this passive aggressive mode or phase, say, sit them down. Now, it's not about what you say, it's about how you do it. Don't be calling nobody out and texting them and putting subliminals on social media. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being a grown woman, a grown man, sitting them down, giving them a call. Hey, when you said X, Y, and Z, that did not sit well with me. I was offended by that. That did not make me feel good. I do not like that. Those are words that we need to use so that someone can properly understand that their actions or their behaviors cause harm, okay? So that's first thing. I need to share with you that you offended me, okay? Secondly, you give that person an opportunity to say, you know what, I apologize, I wasn't aware, that was not my intent, whatever the case is. Give them an opportunity to speak their piece. Now, again, if this is someone that you have a relationship with, a foundation, give them grace. Give them grace. If you know this has been your friend of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and you know their heart, don't immediately think, oh, they after me, No, she's been your friend. He's been your friend for umpteen amount of years. They're more than likely didn't try to offend you, okay? So give them grace. Understand where they're coming from. Now, it doesn't mean you may agree or not. Hopefully you guys can come on get on the same page, but sometimes you might agree to disagree, and that's okay. But it's all about how you handle it. So give them an opportunity to say their piece. And if they're the mature adults and the mature friends and relationships and people that you want to be connected with, 9 times out of 10, they're going to own their mistakes. They're going to say, you know what? I'm sorry, I did not realize this offended you. I will do better moving forward. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, okay? Now, if they immature or if they just like, well, you know what? Let's stop it right there, because if someone can't take responsibility for the things that if you're saying, hey, this is how I feel, regardless of how they took it or not, if they can't accept responsibility for making you feel that way, even if that wasn't their intent, then we first need to evaluate that friendship or that connection, period. We do not need to be yoked with anybody, friends, relationships, or whatever, for people who cannot take accountability for their actions. That's first and foremost. So if you get that response, then that should cause you to reevaluate some things and some people in your life, because we need people who are going to hold themselves accountable. That's the only way that a friendship or relationship actually works, is if I own up to the mistakes that I made and we agree to move forward and try not to make those same mistakes. So bottom line is, if someone offends you, let's not go into passive aggressive mode and then go the next 10 years holding on to this, because that's what happens. A lot of times everybody's walking around with chips on their shoulder for things that they were offended by, but they never told anybody that they were offended. And so now when they come in contact with that person, or when somebody else does something that looks like that, it's like, let's take responsibility for our own actions, because it starts with us. No one can apologize for something that you don't let them know that, hey, you did this and I didn't like it, okay? So moral of the story is, let's not sit in passive aggressiveness. Let's be, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's be forthcoming. Let's take initiative to say, hey, you offended me. This is how it made me feel. I don't like it. Give that person an opportunity to rectify it and apologize. And then you guys keep it pushing. Stop holding on to stuff from 10, 15 years ago because you weren't woman enough or man enough to say, hey, you hurt me back here. We're operating in 2023. If you're dealing with grown adults who cannot communicate, and again, you may not have the words to say it, write a letter. Write a note, text it, right? Well, I don't know that I recommend text. Text doesn't always convey feelings. But listen, we're in 2023. So if you can't sit and tell somebody, hey, you upset me, you offended me, then we need to go back to the drawing boards ourselves, because what are we offering in terms of friendship and connection if I can't even be responsible for my own actions, okay? So let's not sit in scenes of passive aggressiveness. Let's take accountability for our own actions, and then let's make sure that if someone offends us, that we let them know and give them an opportunity to say, hey, this is what happened. I apologize. That was not my intent, blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. Let's stop walking around as grown adults with chips on our shoulders like we're 2-year-olds because we can't talk and tell someone that they offended us. That's the moral of the story. Okay, until then, I'm your girl Najla, the life curator, signing off. I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I think a lot of times that passive aggressiveness is what keeps us in bondage from freely moving about and experience the good life that God has meant for us. I love you guys. Until next time, we'll see you soon.